Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness shall exceedingly pollute the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mayak Allah. And that was 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Verse 3 spoke about incredulity. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So even as we bring out these scriptures, bring out these words of prophecy, things that are yet to happen, those that hear these words don't believe them, that's on them. It doesn't make a difference, because these words are faithful, they're true, and and it's still gonna come to pass. They're gonna happen. So even if you don't believe it, even though some of these things are coming to pass right before your eyes, doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It's still gonna take place. It's still gonna happen. And I just have a short video here. It's gonna give you just a little preview of the times that we're entering into. The time of Jacob's trouble, where it's not just gonna be so easy, or it's not even gonna be available when all hell break loose. When every man's gonna go for himself and is gonna just care about his own wants and desires, because he's gonna know that these women, and not only just the women, but people on the whole, are not just going to be able to pick up the phone and call 911 thinking that they're going to get a response, because they feel like they have an emergency, or they feel like they need to call for assistance. And at that time, they're going to be looking for a man of the Lord. They're going to be looking for, especially these women, they're going to be looking for a man, period, to come to their rescue when things start to go awry. I just have a short video that I want to bring out, and this won't be very long, because this video is only 1 minute 30 seconds. But I'm going to bring it out under the Fair Use Act of 1976. This is for edification purposes only. This channel is not monetized, so this is not in an effort to make money, but it's for fair use, for educational purposes only. And like I said, these women are going to realize that the choices and the decisions that they're making right now, because they feel like they can somewhat do whatever the hell they want to do, whether they be right or wrong. They always got that the 911 to come to their rescue, to come to their defense. All right. So I'm going to let a little bit of this play, and I'm going to bring out a couple verses, and then that'll be the end of this.
A woman in handcuffs sprinting down a South Carolina road.
Hey, we got a girl over here running for her life.
Watch the woman race toward this semi-truck with a swerving car right behind her.
Seemingly that car was trying to run that person over.
The truck's driver, Anthony Moore, telling me that
All right, you can see Anthony Moore appears to be an Israelite. All right, Now, she really didn't know who was in that truck, but more 9 times out of 10, big truck, big 18-wheeler, more than likely is going to be a man. So that's exactly what she did. She, in handcuffs, got out of it and ran straight for that truck, screaming and yelling for help. She didn't give a damn. She just wanted whoever was in there to help. And she didn't give a damn about what kind of position she might have been putting him in. All she cared about was herself. Who knows what she was doing out there walking on the road alone. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. And I was just talking about Jacob's trouble, which is we're already seeing the beginnings of when all hell's beginning to break loose, where there's going to be every man going for himself. Fulfilling his own lust, whatever he wants to do. Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 7 says, Salakia. Jeremiah chapter 30. And verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So these things that are going to come into pass, that we're, like I said, we're in the beginning of Jacob's trouble. So these things that are going to be coming to pass, whereas we get deeper into this thing, all right, it's going to be affecting all those unfaithful, all those who are doing wicked, living wicked lives, being involved in things that they ought not be involved in. But the men of the Lord are going to come through this time of tribulation and come through this time of trouble, and they're going to be saved out of it. And as I said, we're being in the beginnings of this Jacob's trouble right now. As we get deeper and deeper into this thing, you're going to see the desperation of people. All right? And when they're going to be bugging out, when all hell starts to break loose, they're going to see that the men of the Lord are still remaining calm in this thing and remaining steadfast. All right? And are recollecting and remembering the things, the words taught in the scripture, and are still upholding those things and living by those things. As all hell is breaking loose, everybody's going to lose control, but these men are going to stay steadfast. These men are going to remain faithful to the Lord. I'm going to let a little bit more of this play.
Was driving Friday morning in Aiken County, South Carolina, when that woman suddenly emerged from the woods.
She ran up to my truck and said, please help me. He's trying to kidnap me.
You can see the man here, identified by investigators as 39-year-old Jonathan Willard. According to a
Jonathan Willard, this man appears to be an Edomite, all right? Wild man, all right? So he's just waiting for his opportunity, and somehow he got her in handcuffs, all right? And with her being in handcuffs, who knows what this man was going to try to do to her.
Sheriff's Office report, the victim says Willard approached her while she was out on a walk, claiming to be with the police. He placed her in handcuffs, then into the rear of his car. The victim says she believed him at first, but got suspicious when...
See? And just because this man said that he was a police officer, she was walking along the road, and she allowed him to put handcuffs on her. Who knows what kind of identification he showed her? All right, who knows what she was involved in? Because if she's not guilty of anything, has not broken any of the so-called laws. All right, then she wouldn't have no reason to believe that he was a police officer that was able to just put her in handcuffs and do something to her, apprehend her. All right. So who knows what she may have been guilty of or what she may have done. They say she was out just for a walk. All right, but that's another thing. Just believing that she is okay for you to just be out by yourself, women going out taking a walk. All right. I'm gonna let some more of this play. But you know what? Before I return back to this video, because there's only a few more seconds left on it. Esau, this man who he appears to be Esau, what he was doing was impersonating a police officer. All right, so he's doing what he does, just going about being spreading lies and that's impersonating a police officer. So, you know, that's what they do. You know, they are fugitives, they're vagabonds. So that's what they do. They conceal their identities for their agenda, you know. So he was up to no good. He was looking, and that's probably indeed what he was doing, looking to kidnap what appears to be an Israelite woman. Who knows what he's done in the past? You know, this may be something very common for him that he's gotten away with hundreds of times. I'm gonna go to John chapter 8, verse 44 says, and this is in the red letter, this is Yahushua speaking, it says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father will ye do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And that verse describes this instance perfectly, all right? Because who knows what kind of lust he had going on, where he wanted to kidnap this woman. He wanted to put her in handcuffs, and go do who knows what with her, you know. So he had to deceive her by telling her he was a police officer. You know, he threw her in the back of his car. He's driving around in a Cadillac. All right. So, and how this woman got out of the car, I don't know. You know, but somehow she was able to get away from him. But like I said, she was out walking alone by herself, and who don't know if she was exercising or who knows what was on her agenda, what she was actually out there doing. They don't mention the time of day, but she clearly out there alone in a wooded area with a bag on her head.
He kept asking the same questions. Eventually, Willard pulled over, according to the report, and that's when the victim made her remarkable escape, running to the road and to more. Did you for even a...
So she became suspicious when he kept asking the same questions over and over. But see, women, like I said, first of all, she didn't have no business being out there by herself in some wooded area, calling herself going for a walk, if that's what she was doing. I'm going to go to Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiasticus. Because see, if she had consulted with a man, whether it be her husband or her dad, who knows what kind of advice they may have given her if they would have taken the time to go with her if she truly was trying to go exercise and walk through along this wooded area. But see, well, let me just go there. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 25. Like I said, I don't know what her situation is, whether she's married or whether she lives with her dad, but she shouldn't have put herself in a position where she was out there alone. It says, Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 25, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. So she should always be consulting a man about where her whereabouts, what her intentions are, all right, and not putting herself in a position where she could be vulnerable, because we know that women are the weaker vessel out there being. Let me get that. So she's out there alone in a wooded, walking along a wooded area. See, they don't know how to be circumspect. They don't know how to look about them, keeping their heads on a swivel. Circumspect meaning around, and spec being to look, meaning to look around, to be conscious of their surroundings. I'm going to go to 1 Timothy. Chapter 2, verse 14 says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. See, so she, like I said, just being the weaker vessel, she put herself in a position where she was very vulnerable, and she was able to be deceived because, especially Eve, they have a tendency to look into the eyes, to the face of that white male and see an authority figure. All right, like I said, who knows what kind of fake ID he may have had, or if he showed her anything. He might have just showed her some cuffs and told her that he was a police officer. Nevertheless, since I mentioned women being a weaker vessel, I'm going to go to 1 Peter chapter 3. Verse 7 says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together to the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. See, and that verse right here mentions and tells you that they are the weaker vessel. So she had no business putting herself in this vulnerable position. All right, I'm going to go back into the book of back into the Apocrypha, back to the book of Ecclesiasticus. Because like I said, she should have had her head with her, whether it be her husband or her dad. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26 and verse 10. It says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. And see, she just decided to take it upon herself and go out, take a walk along the highway right there near a wooded area, putting herself in a vulnerable position, not being circumspect, not watching around her. Who knows how long this man might have been following behind her before he decided to impersonate a police officer, put cuffs on her, and put her in the car. But let me just let the rest of this play, because there's only a couple more seconds.
Split second, think this was a legitimate law enforcement officer?
No, sir. His face looked dirty. He was smoking a cigarette, had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Willard has since been arrested.
See, and the brother realized, this being the truck driver, realized right away that something didn't look right. All right, he had a cigarette hanging out his mouth, face was dirty. All right, not the way a police officer is really going to present himself, especially when he's making an arrest.
charged with impersonating a law enforcement officer and with kidnapping after this disturbing scene caught on camera. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
All right. We thank you for watching, and remember.
All right, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. And I pray that this message has been edifying to the listener. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha HaKadosh. Shalom.